For a long time, I truly thought my life was close to perfect. A quiet suburban neighborhood just outside Denver. A husband who worked long hours, but always managed to walk through the door before dinner. 2 lively little boys under 7, obsessed with bedtime stories and grilled cheese sandwiches. And in the early years, even a mother-in-law who smiled through lips pressed tight enough to leave marks. My name is Mira. I'm 29, a full-time mom to 2 young boys and married to Leo, a civil engineer who believes he can repair absolutely anything: appliances, fences, and apparently, even his own mother. With a bit of determination and a toolbox, we live in a modest, sunny 2-story house with a swing set in the backyard and tiny fingerprints smudged across the refrigerator door. From the outside, you'd think we're the kind of family people envy, and for a while, I believed that too, until Helena started helping. Helena is Leo's mother. To most people, she seems graceful, composed, practically glowing with patience and charm. And for the first year of our marriage, I really tried to see her through that lens. But it's what people do when they think no one is paying attention that reveals who they truly are. And Helena, she has a gift for turning kindness into something sharp. I remember the first meal she ever served me at their home in Santa Fe. Leo was given a perfectly seared sirloin with herb butter. His father, Martin, received lemon, garlic trout that smelled incredible. And me, I was handed a plate of steamed vegetables and a bowl of thin, nearly flavorless broth. "You're trying to stay in shape, right?" Helena had said, smiling like she was posing for a community newsletter. I hadn't mentioned anything about my weight, not once. But I swallowed the comment and thanked her. That moment was the beginning of a pattern I couldn't ignore. The small things began stacking up. If she made warm milk or cocoa for the kids, mine would somehow be forgotten. If she passed out chocolates during the holidays, I'd get a different brand, older, cheaper, sometimes dusty. She'd make comments like, "It must be exhausting not having a career, but at least the boys always have someone around." Always said sweetly, always with that same practiced smile. Leo never noticed or chose not to. "She's just trying to help," he'd say. That's her way of showing love, like the time she gifted me a cookbook titled Easy Recipes for the Hopeless Cook, or when she posted a photo online of her 3 favorite people. At our son's birthday party, Leo, Martin, and the birthday boy carefully cropping me out. Still, I kept convincing myself I could handle it. She didn't live with us. Leo cared about me, even if he didn't fully understand. And then came the chocolate. It was early summer. We had taken the boys to Santa Fe for a long weekend visit. One afternoon, while Leo was out running errands with Martin, and the kids were asleep upstairs, Helena appeared at the patio door holding a delicate floral plate. "I brought you something sweet," she said gently. Imported cocoa truffles. Thought a tired mama could use a little treat. I hesitated. The chocolates looked strangely dull. One even had a dented corner. Still, I thanked her, lifted one, and popped it into my mouth. It crunched. Chocolate shouldn't crunch. The taste was stale, bitter, almost dusty, with a gritty texture that stuck to my tongue. "Yours is special," Helena added, watching me too carefully. "I saved that one just for you." A chill ran through me. "I'll save the rest for later," I murmured, wrapping the remaining truffles in a napkin. She didn't protest. An hour later, the pain hit. Sharp, twisting cramps tore through my stomach. I barely made it to the downstairs bathroom before collapsing onto the cool tile floor, trembling and nauseous. Leo found me half an hour later, pale and drenched in cold sweat. "You okay?" he asked. "Something I ate?" I whispered. He helped me upstairs, brought me chamomile tea, and checked on the kids. I didn't mention the chocolate. Not yet. The next morning, while taking out the trash, something caught my eye inside the kitchen bin. A crumpled candy wrapper, white foil with faded lettering. The brand wasn't one I recognized. Using a spoon, I lifted it out and flattened it on the counter. Best before, February 2011. It was 2021. I stared at the date, throat tightening. Helena hadn't just given me expired chocolate. She had given me chocolate that expired an entire decade ago. I folded the wrapper and slipped it into the pocket of my jeans. I didn't know what I planned to do with it, only that throwing it away felt wrong. That night, once the boys were asleep, I told Leo. He squinted at the wrapper. She probably didn't notice, he said. It's not like she checks every label. Leo, I said slowly. This isn't a little expired. It's practically from another era. It crunched. She's been clearing out old storage boxes. Maybe it got mixed in. She said she saved that one especially for me. He shifted uncomfortably. Are you saying she did it on purpose? I stared at him. Do you think she didn't? He sighed, rubbing his face. Mira, I love you, but maybe you're turning this into something bigger than it is. I didn't respond. The next morning, I called my brother. Kyan, 2 years younger, lived in Phoenix and worked in tech support. We usually talked often, but I hadn't told him about the chocolate. This time, I told him everything. When I finished, there was a long stretch of silence. Then he said, "You need to set up cameras." "What? Hidden ones, cheap and easy. You're going back to her place soon, right?" "She's invited us to a rental cabin near Crescent Lake in 2 weeks. Perfect, Kyan. This isn't some true crime show." "Maybe not, but if she's actually doing what you think she is, you'll need proof, especially if Leo refuses to see it." He wasn't wrong. And I hated that he wasn't wrong. 3 days later, a small package arrived. Inside were 5 button-sized cameras, a portable mini router, and a note in Kyan's handwriting. "Don't wait for another treat. Record everything." I stared at the equipment for a long time, then quietly packed it into my overnight bag. That evening, Leo came home. "Mom says the Crescent Lake place has 2 guest rooms and a big deck overlooking the water," he said. "She even booked a private chef for Saturday night." Of course she had. He frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" I smiled thinly. "Nothing, but in my mind, I wasn't packing swimsuits anymore. I was packing evidence. Crescent Lake in April was damp and enchanting, wrapped in mist and the scent of soft pine. The cabin Helena had rented sat at the edge of the woods, with a winding gravel driveway, 2 porches, and a single shared kitchen. She greeted us on the front porch, wearing a quilted vest over a cream turtleneck, the picture of casual elegance. Her husband, Martin, stood quietly behind her, holding a thermos and nodding politely. "It's so good to see you all," she cooed, reaching first to hug the boys before lightly touching my shoulder. "Mira, you look well, rested." I forced a tight smile. "Thanks, you two." Leo dropped our bags inside, already helping the boys get settled in their room. Helena gave us a tour, even though the cabin was barely 300 square feet. "You and Leo will be here," she said, gesturing to a small room with bunk beds. "The boys can share the bunks. Martin and I will take the master across the hall." She paused at the kitchen. "The kitchen is shared. 1 long wooden dining table dominates the space. Very communal," she added, smiling. Just like a real family, the first night passed without incident. Dinner was simple: roasted chicken, salad, and bread. Helena served everyone first, handing me my plate last. Just a beat too late, just a touch too deliberate. My plate had no chicken skin, no roasted potatoes, only steamed kale and a small drizzle of olive oil. I said nothing. Later that night, after the boys were asleep, I opened my overnight bag and carefully unpacked the equipment Kyan had sent. 5 small cameras, 3 chargers, a pocket Wi-Fi router, and instructions I already knew by heart. I waited until the cabin was silent. Then I moved. Camera 1 mounted in the corner of the kitchen cabinet, facing the prep counter. Camera 2 tucked above the refrigerator, angled at the sink and trash. Camera 3 disguised as a coat hook in the hallway, facing Helena's room. Camera 4 hidden in a vase on the shared dining table. Camera 5 inside our bedroom, just in case. Everything synced to the cloud and my laptop, which I kept locked in the closet. By 2 a.m., the cabin was quiet again. The next morning, Helena was already humming in the kitchen when I stepped in. "Good morning," she chirped. "I let you sleep in." Leo was outside with the boys, helping them search for bugs along the trail behind the cabin. Helena poured me tea before I asked for any. "I thought we could have a little lunch together, just the two of us," she said. "That's kind of you," I replied, pretending to sip. She opened a sleek paper box to reveal a colorful bento arrangement. "I picked this up from a boutique deli in town," she explained. "Imported ingredients, very exclusive. You deserve something special." She placed it in the fridge, clearly labeled Mira. I knew better than to ask if anyone else was getting one. That afternoon, when the boys were napping and Leo had gone for a walk with Martin, I slipped back into the bedroom and opened my laptop. I cued the kitchen footage and scrubbed backward until I found the timestamp. 10:46 a.m. Helena was alone in the kitchen, wearing gloves. She opened a small Tupperware from her purse. Something dark moved inside. I zoomed in, a live cockroach. My stomach lurched as I watched her gently lift it with tweezers and place it into the bento's rice bed, as though it were a delicate gem. She sprinkled sesame seeds over the top, smoothed the surface, and smiled. I paused the video, closed the laptop, and sank to the floor. I had feared she might try something again, and now I knew she had. I had prepared for odd expired food, hidden allergens, even a stray hair in the soup. Not this. This was deliberate, calculated, cold. She wanted me to eat it. She wanted me to panic. At dinner that evening, Helena announced her next surprise with theatrical flair. "I've arranged something special for our last night here," she said. "Gourmet bento boxes from that same boutique deli. I ordered one for each of us." Then she turned toward me. "Yours is custom." "Of course it is," I murmured. Leo smiled absently, cutting chicken for our youngest. "They cost nearly $750 total," he added. "Mom's really going all out." Martin didn't look up. After the kids went to bed, Leo found me brushing my hair in the bathroom. "You okay?" he asked. I met his eyes in the mirror. "Do you believe me now?" He looked confused. "About what?" I opened the medicine cabinet, pulled out the flash drive with the footage, and held it toward him. "Watch this, before dinner tomorrow." But he didn't. He said he was tired, said I was overthinking again, that Helena had only been trying so hard lately. So I waited. The next day, just before dinner, Helena entered the living area carrying the bento boxes. One by one, she placed them on the table, tied with golden ribbon, each labeled in perfect cursive. Leo, Martin, the boys, Mira. She handed mine personally. "I asked them to make yours extra delicate," she said, smiling. "You've always been a little sensitive." I took it and didn't open it. "Go on, try it," she urged. "I want to see your face." I smiled, and then I stood, walked to the trash can, opened the lid, and dropped the box in. Helena froze. Leo jerked in his seat. "What the hell are you doing?" he exclaimed. "That was $150. Martin set down his fork, silent. "That was made especially for you," Helena said, voice rising. I walked back with my laptop. "Let me show you what was especially made for me." I set it on the dining table, next to her delicate floral teacup. My hands didn't shake this time. Leo frowned. "Mira, what's going on?" "You'll see." I clicked play. The screen flickered to grainy footage of the kitchen. Helena's profile appeared as she shut the door, slipped on latex gloves, and reached into her handbag. She lifted a black Tupperware, clicked it open, and produced silver tweezers. Inside, a cockroach writhed, legs flailing. Gasps echoed around the table. My oldest covered his eyes. "Oh my God," Leo whispered. And then the part that made my blood run cold, Helena, smiling softly, gently placing the insect into the rice bed, sprinkling sesame seeds over it, smoothing it down like frosting a cake. I froze the frame. The room seemed to hold its breath. Helena was the first to break. "This is absurd," she said sharply. "That footage could be fake. Edited, really." I tilted my head. Edited from 3 angles. I pulled up the feed from above the refrigerator, showing her side profile in crisp detail, the tweezers, the bug, the box with my name. Leo pushed back in his chair, heart racing. "Mom, no. Please tell me this isn't what it looks like." Helena pressed her lips tight. For a moment I thought she might lie again, but something snapped. Her face twisted, raw and hateful. "She doesn't belong here," Helena hissed. "She never has." Finally, Martin spoke, calm but ledged. "Helena, you tried to poison the mother of my grandchildren." Helena spat, ignoring him. "From the moment you brought her home, took him from me, made him forget who sacrificed everything to raise him." Leo's hands shook. "That doesn't give you the right," I said. Helena slammed her palm on the table. The teacup rattled. "I gave him life, and she thinks she can waltz in here. Smug little smiles, her fancy college degree. She jabbed a finger at me, and act like she's better than me. I wanted her gone." "That was all the boys," I murmured, seeing them cling to Leo, whimpering. My chest ached, but I forced myself to remain steady. "Gone how?" I asked. "By slowly feeding me trash, by trying to make me sick until I left." She sneered. "If you were smart, you would have, but you're stubborn. Always had to prove me wrong." Martin rose, usually calm face thunderous. "You endangered children who could have eaten that box. You've disgraced this family beyond repair." Helena blinked, stunned. "Martin, enough," she said, voice cracking. He turned to Leo. "Take Mira and the boys. Go back to Seattle tonight. I'll handle her." Leo nodded silently, gathering the boys into his arms. Helena screamed, a sharp, desperate sound. "Don't you dare walk away, Leo. I am your mother." But he didn't turn back. Not once. We packed in silence. By midnight, we were on the ferry to the mainland, the boys asleep across the back seat. Leo drove with knuckles white on the wheel. Finally, he whispered, "I'm sorry." I stared at the dark water. "You should be. She doesn't mean well. She means harm." He swallowed. "I'll never let her near you or the kids again. I swear it." For the first time in years, I believed him. The next morning, I walked into the local police station with the flash drive in hand. The officer watched halfway through the footage. "Ma'am, this qualifies as criminal endangerment. You're pressing charges." "Yes," I said simply. Within a week, a restraining order was in place. Helena could not contact us, approach the boys, or set foot on our property. But of course, she tried anyway. Blocked calls in the middle of the night, emails from burner accounts, handwritten letters with no return address. The words swung wildly between saccharine apologies and venomous attacks. "I only want what's best for my son. You'll regret turning him against me." I filed every single one of them. Then Martin called. He sounded tired but determined. "I've filed for divorce," he said. "Helena, she's unraveling. She bans cell phones in the house, claims cameras are everywhere, accuses neighbors of spying. She hasn't been rational for months. Mira, I should have intervened sooner." I closed my eyes, relief and sorrow tangled together. "I'm sorry, Martin." I whispered, "Don't be," he replied. "You did what none of us could. You exposed her." 3 months later, I was at the grocery store when my phone buzzed. "Blocked number," against my better judgment, I answered. "Mira." Helena's voice was faint, raspy. Thank God you picked up. I didn't reply. I have nothing, she whimpered. Martin's gone. I can't pay rent. I can't buy food. Please, please, I didn't mean for it to go this far. Still, I said nothing. You're a mother, she sobbed. You know what it's like to sacrifice everything. I only did it because I loved him, because I couldn't lose him. Don't let me starve. I drew a slow breath. My hands were steady. You wanted me gone. I said, now you are. Mira, please, if you're hungry. I cut in coldly, maybe try what you served me. And then I hung up. When I got home, Leo was sitting on the porch swing, the boys tumbling and laughing in the grass. He looked up as I approached. Everything okay? He asked. I smiled faintly. Better than okay. Because in that moment, with the sun on my skin and my children laughing, I realized something. We were finally free. Not just because Helena was gone, but because her power over us, over me, was gone forever.